Hey everyone, welcome once again to Way of the Warrior. Crew, I appreciate you tuning in. As you know, my name is Trevor Martin, and I'm the founder of RMF Coaching. And I love going on to LinkedIn or other social media platforms and finding warriors out there that have the purpose of promoting goodness in today's world. We all know that we need more of it, right? I was actually talking with Karlie here earlier, and she brought up a good point that there's so many different niches. There's so many different ways that people can promote that in today's society. So today, we're going to take a little bit of time and we're going to talk with Karlie about where she's been, what she's doing now, and what she's got planned for the future. So Karlie, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to join me here on Way of the Warrior.
Thanks, Trevor. I really appreciate you having me on here. I've watched a bunch of these, and to be included in this group of people it's an honor. So thank you.
Hey, no problem. No
Really
problem.
excited.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad that you're here. And I got to tell you, so you mentioned watching the previous episodes, and one of the things that really stands out about what you offer or what you're doing is your fierceness and your passion when it comes to like workout routines, to the mental toughness that it takes to get into the gym, to get started, and not only get started, but to keep going day after day after day. A lot of the workouts, a lot of the things that you're doing look tough as hell. Like I'm going to be honest with you, like I'm all about the physical fitness journey, and I'm watching these going, nah, hard pass, hard pass, right? Like it's cool that she's doing it, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do a lighter version of something else. But it's inspiring to watch you, do these things and promote it and say, hey, here's how you do it to other people on LinkedIn. And you're gaining a following. So if I could ask, take us back. Like what have you always had this mindset? Have you always been, this physically fit? Like what's your journey look like starting, farther back?
So I have a few kind of key experiences in my life that I feel like have really kind of defined my mindset and kind of turned me into who I am today. So a little background about me: I'm the youngest of 5 kids, and I grew up on a dude ranch, which sounds like something other than what it is. We had a week-long program. We lived in the mountains in Idaho/Wyoming, and we had a week-long program. People would come and we would teach them how to ride horses and teach them how to square dance and give them like this Wild West experience.
Yeah.
So my childhood was very, very unique and awesome. Like hands down awesome. Of course, I didn't appreciate it at the time because who does?
Right. Amen. Like I hear you.
Yeah. Exactly. But so as the youngest of 5 kids, I have 2 older brothers, 2 older sisters, and by the time I came along, I was a surprise.
Okay.
Everybody had already done everything that I was doing. So a lot of the time, I spent a lot of time as a kid, even like little kid, watching other people and seeing how other people responded to what they were doing, because everything I did, my parents were like, "Oh, cool," because it's already been done. We've raised 4 other kids, and by the time I came along, they were starting their business. So they started the ranch when I was 2 or 3.
Okay.
So I grew up on a dude ranch, and so I always I was always trying to figure out like what I needed to do and who I needed to be to stand out.
Yeah.
And for a really, really long time, I was made to believe in a number of different ways that I was not meant to stand out. Like, I'm the 5th of 5 kids. Like, we're done. We're done raising kids.
Back burner. Yep.
And, I grew up in the LDS church. So we were Mormons, which I'm not saying anything against any religion or deity or anything that anyone believes in. But in that church, women are very much second-class citizens. They can't hold the priesthood. We're basically told from a very young age that our purpose on this earth is to find a returned missionary and marry him and have his children and multiply and replenish the earth. And that is our purpose in the world. And so between being the youngest of 5 kids and a young Mormon girl, I, was told in a lot of ways that I was supposed to be meek and docile and quiet and unassuming and small and not in the way and just do my duty and, be what God put me here to be. And I really struggled with that because
I bet.
I've got, yeah. I mean, even then, I've got a little bit of fire in here, and that didn't compute in my brain, that stay small and quiet and out of the way thing.
Right on.
Especially watching all of my older siblings and how they interacted with people and how people responded to them compared to how they responded to me. And so from a very young age, I've always been very introspective.
Okay.
Wondering what makes me different, why do people respond to them this way and me this way? And I've been called an old soul a number of times because of that, because I'm like, well, when this person did this, you said this, and when I do it, you say this. So what's different? And a lot of the time it was that when that person did it, they were a male person.
Okay.
I am a female person. And so I spent a lot of years just kind of being made to believe that I was just always going to be second or last or an afterthought. And that doesn't work for me at all.
Well, I'll be honest. I can tell. So yeah.
But I made it work for me for a really long time.
Okay.
So that's kind of a background of how I grew up.
Right
and
on.
Then one of the first really significant experiences that had a profound impact on my psychological well-being was when I was 10. On the ranch, we would take the guests on a wagon ride up the canyon, horse-drawn wagon ride. And there was this little girl named Susanna, and she didn't want to go on the wagon ride. And I talked her into it. I'm like, it's really fun. You sit on the bale of hay and the horses pull you up and it's just trees and it's pretty and it's great. And she really didn't want to go. And I talked her into it, and she came, and her mom came with her. And my 2 older brothers, who at the time were 19 and 25 years old, respectively, they were driving the team of horses. And we got up into the canyon and started making our way back downhill toward the ranch, and the horses got spooked by something and started taking off. We think that there might have been a bear or a mountain lion in the woods that they got freaked out about, and they were headed for the river. And my brothers could not stop them, couldn't get them to turn, slow down, nothing. So they turned around and yelled to everybody to jump off. And everybody did except Susanna and her mom. And that wagon went over the bridge into the river, and Susanna drowned. And I blamed myself for that for probably 20 years.
Oh,
because
holy fuck. Okay.
Because she didn't want to go. She didn't want to go. I talked her into it. And then when my brother said jump off, I didn't give her a second thought. I jumped off and left her there. And so that's the first real experience I had that
And you were
made
10?
me, yeah.
Okay.
That made me really think about my impact on other people.
Wow.
And of course, that is a terrible impact on another person. And for a 10-year-old to just barely really understand what death means and to feel like they caused it in their friend was not a good time for me. Anyway, fast forward a few years. I'm a junior in high school, and I was dating a boy who was part of our church. And because of that, I had been taught to believe that I should be able to trust him. Unless, of course, I dressed the wrong way and made him think impure thoughts about me, because that's a thing that we were taught a lot in Sunday school, was that if a boy has impure thoughts about you or does sexual things with you, it's because of something that you did. You brought it out in him. You made him commit this sin against God.
It's your fault.
Yeah. And so when I was 17, he and we had been on a few dates, and I went back to his apartment with him. He was 23. I was 17. Not a good combination, but I went back to his apartment with him, and one thing led to another, and I was raped. And I immediately thought, well, yeah, that's what I'm here for. And it took me a really long time to even admit to myself that what had happened is that I had been raped, because it had been so deeply ingrained in me that any behavior from a man toward me was on me. It was my fault. I asked for it. I went to his apartment. I agreed to go out on the date. I kissed him. And so I was like, it's not rape. It can't be, because I asked for all this other stuff, and I must have done something to make him lose control of himself. And so for many, many years, I was in a very dark shame spiral place. I'd killed my friend. I'd made this boy commit this sin. And a couple months after that, I was sitting on my bedroom floor with my dad's loaded gun in my hands, and couldn't do it. Couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't feel like this horrible human being anymore. And my friend called me and talked me off of that ledge, thankfully. And we graduated high school, and I went to college. I moved away. I was living with my sister, going to the University of Idaho, working at Walden Books. And I met who would become my first husband. I was working at the calendar stand in the kiosk at the mall, and I had a staring problem. I love observing people. I watch people.
Ditto. Not creepy, but ditto.
Yeah, right? I stare at people, and because I look at them and I see some behavior or something, and I'm like, why did they do that? And so I was staring at him. I was. But he thought that I was checking him out, which I wasn't, but fine. So he went and bought an orange and a strawberry Julius, and he brought them back, and he's like, have your pick of the flavor, and then also here's my phone number. So that's how I met my first husband. And we met in January, and we were engaged by Valentine's Day. And one of the things that really drew me to him was that he was the sixth of 10 kids from a Mormon family, and he did not go to church anymore. He had issues with going to church. And,
Okay.
I kind of latched onto that one little part of him.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yes, exactly. There are issues with that thing, with that church, those people, they're bad stuff. I don't want anything to do with that. And he said that he didn't either.
So you're like, freedom.
Yeah. And then between February and July, his family convinced him that getting married in the church is what he needed to do. And he convinced me. And so we got married in the Mormon temple 6 months after we met. And my son was born a year after that, which he's an amazing kid. He's so great. And I absolutely would not change any of my life at all because it gave me him. But we got married in the Mormon temple, and for a couple years, I played the role of the dutiful Mormon wife and mother. And I look back on that time, and I was like a Stepford wife. I was a shell of a human being, just
Preach.
pretending to be who he needed me to be. And I played that role really well because he had absolutely no idea that anything was wrong. And then he went away to hunting camp and was out of contact with me for 10 days, about just over 2 years into our marriage. And it was the first time I felt like I could breathe in years when he was gone.
Wow.
And as soon as he got home, we had one car and he had it. And so as soon as he got home, he went off to work, and I packed up my son and a few bags, and I drove to my mom's house and left. I was like, I cannot keep pretending to be this other person. Cannot do it.
Right on.
And so those are kind of the three things that kept pushing me down, kept pushing me into this little box, this small little mold of a person that I do not recognize anymore. Cannot believe I ever was now.
Yeah.
And then in 2013, I met the man that I'm now married to, and he's a Marine, and he's like, I do this CrossFit thing. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about maybe getting into better shape, because I had been like a dancer and a cheerleader, a gymnast, and I'd always just been skinny, small. And I was telling him, I was like, I've been thinking about doing some kind of exercise thing. I don't know what really. He's like, you should come try CrossFit. And we watched the CrossFit Games. And I was like, are you kidding me? I can't do that. Are you crazy? You must be totally crazy. He's like, you could do it. Come on. And by that point, I had kind of woken up to myself a little bit. And I'm like, sounds like a challenge. I kind of want to prove you right. And so I tried it and instantly fell in love with it. It was so much fun. You don't even feel like you're working out. You're in a group of people that are all just like suffering along with you. And it's so much fun. And so that's kind of how I started actually my whole fitness journey. And it's been a decade now. And I'm his coach. I program all his workouts now, my husband. I just kind of took that challenge that I don't think he meant to be a challenge, but I took it as a challenge and ran with it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And now here we are.
Yeah. So forgive me. I'm still like, I'm replaying. I'm going back to the 10-year-old and, version of you. And then all of the things that have built up to where we're at right now. And I got to tell you, so I think, as I'm listening to your story, as I'm listening to what you're talking about and the things that you've been through, I go back to the arena, the arena of life, and I'm envisioning, I'm envisioning a warrior that's going through the different stages of a gauntlet. And sometimes as she goes through these stages, she's getting nicked, she's getting cut, she's getting punched, she's getting beat, she's getting kicked while she's down, and all the broken bones, the scars, the blood, the sweat, the tears, all of that, right? And then I envision, right? You ever get punched in the face and you go, it doesn't knock you out, but it brings the stars and the birds, and you're like, what just happened? But then everything, you kind of shake the cobwebs away, and then everything snaps into focus, and you look at what just hit you, and you go, bring it, let's fucking go. And what you're looking at you now to the story, like I can't even imagine. And I know I've seen some of you're starting to drop some more personal posts, about your earlier years on LinkedIn, and it's putting everything together. It is amazing to see where you've been to where you are now, to what you stand for now. And I absolutely love your comment about being a Stepford wife. Oh, hey, I'm programmed. Society has dictated that I do this, right? I should be here. And I'm like, hey, guess what? I'm a rebel and I don't fucking do that shit. I want to be here. So watch me destroy all of what you're saying I should be, and watch me break or make my own mold. And I'm going to persevere. I am going to take this shit to the next level. And here you are, right here, taking your game to the next level, right? You're doing exactly what you set out to do. Look, I've had enough. I'm not doing that. I don't subscribe to this anymore. So therefore, I'm going to embrace the power within. I'm going to engage my mindset, and I'm fully joy. Let's go and let's get to work. And it is, I'm telling you, Karlie, the people, like, I'm still, like, I'm going to be thinking about this. I'm going upstairs and I'm going to tell your story. I'm not going to lie. Like, I can't, I'm still trying to process it. To see where you've been to where you are now, it's inspiring and it's amazing. And people need to hear the story. They absolutely do. So I thank you, like, for sharing that, for letting us in, because I know that wasn't easy. I get it. I see it. It wasn't easy. So here you are now, right? You're on this physical fitness journey, right? You're coaching others along their physical fitness journey, right? Including your husband. Like you're doing all of these wonderful things. When you think about your future, right? We've got the past. We've come through that. Broke out. You're like, look, I'm fucking swole. Let's do this. I can help you do it. What's the future look like? What's the future look like for Karlie? Like, I gotta imagine like sky is the limit with your mindset and your perseverance and discipline. I'll throw that in there.
It does take some discipline, for sure. But so future Karlie, it's like, it's kind of become a cliche sort of thing, but that whole be who you needed when you were younger.
Right on.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Because I know that, like, I tell you my story, and the specifics of it are, unique to me.
Right.
But the overall experiences, they're not unique.
Preach.
I mean, so many women have a story. Like when I was 17.
Yeah.
The majority of women, And I just want to be there for people who are going through the shit and feel like they can't do it, because they can.
Yeah.
They might need a little help, but that's, if I can do it, you can do it. Anyone can do it. You just got to decide to. And one of the biggest things for me was not just deciding that I wasn't going to be what I had been, but figuring out what I did want to be and coming up with a plan to get there. Because I think a lot of people, they're unhappy in their lives. They're unhappy with their fitness or, relationship or whatever it is. But they don't know, A, what they want instead, or B, what they need to do to get to it. And for me, starting this physical fitness journey, I mean, yes, it's been a physical transformation, sure. When I started CrossFit, I was 105 pounds soaking wet and couldn't pick up a bag of flour. Like, I was tiny. I'm not a big person, but I have, through many, many hours, I've built myself up into a very strong person physically, but also mentally and emotionally. Like, there's something that happens when you show up every day in the gym and you do shit that you've never done before,
Oh,
or
preach.
you lift something you thought you couldn't lift, or you do some gymnastic skill thing that you've never done before, like a bar muscle up. It changes the way you think about everything. Like the transformation physically is one thing, but the way that my mind works now is so different. Like, I don't ever think, I wonder if I can do that. I think,
Oh yeah.
how am I going to do this?
Yep.
It's not a question of if anymore. It's like how.
And
I'll
then
come up with a plan.
when that bar goes clink in that rack, and you get up, and sometimes you get up going, whoa, like you're a little wobbly, but you look in that mirror and you go, I mean, in your case, you're a goddess. Fuck yeah, you are. Let's fucking go. What's the next level? Because you just went clink on that bar, and you're looking back and you're going, I just did that. I went from what's the process? What's my battle plan to I just fully executed that shit back there. And now that's in the past. So guess what? I got another rep coming. How am I going to add more weight, or how am I going to go just a little bit longer? How do I push this just a little bit farther? And the fact of the matter is that everything that you went through, every horrible thing built you and helped mold you to a place where you went, nah, no. I'm not getting pushed around by life anymore. Life does not bend me. I bend it. Now watch me fucking work, baby. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. So as Karlie, as you're talking about, reaching out and helping others, right? Is that as you reach out, because I'm going to tell you, people are going to gravitate to your story. They're going to go, I mean, clearly if Karlie can do this, I can do this. I want to know how. So for people that are going to start to gravitate towards you, like, are you going to be offering your programs? Are you going to be offering something, establishing something that's going to be helping these individuals?
Yeah, I'm in the very, very early stages of creating an online personal training business.
Yeah.
It's very early
Okay.
stages, but going to be so I'm a CrossFit level 1 coach, as well as a certified personal trainer through the National Academy of Sports Medicine. I'm
Oh,
also
that's awesome.
pursuing, thank you. I'm also pursuing a nutrition coaching certification,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a master's degree in behavior analysis. And
Wow.
so, yeah, so I'm going to be offering a few different options.
Okay.
I'm going to be offering some fitness packages, some fitness and nutrition packages, and then basically what I'm kind of thinking is going to be some sort of a lifestyle package, which is going to also address behavior change techniques to help people really transform their lives into the life that they want it to be. It's going to be mostly focused on physical fitness and, nutrition.
Yeah.
Type of goals. I'm not like a licensed therapist or a counselor or anything like that, but
Okay.
I can help people, modify behaviors in their lives that are holding them back from being their fittest, healthiest version of themselves.
Well, and I think so. First of all, bravo on launching this and getting ready. I know you said you're in the beginning stages, so I cannot wait to see how this, what this evolves into. It's going to be mind blowing. I am absolutely sure of that. But what I love hearing is the hope that you're going to be offering other people, right? We all subscribe. We all want that. We want that hope for a brighter future, for a better version of self. So for there to be an avenue for people to pursue, that is amazing and needed. And what I really like is the fact that you said, you were talking about lifestyle. You were talking about people that want to have that, to make that shift, because it's a conscious decision, right? From going from here to I don't want this anymore. I'm going to click. I'm pivoting. I'm going to this. And this will become the new me. Why? Because this and this are aligned, and I say it so, or say it is so. So I'm going to will it into being through whatever means necessary, through that hard work and dedication. So I applaud you, and I thank you for creating something that is once again promoting, encouraging, and enabling, others who are going along in their own personal journeys, who are going to need this as they move forward. So, Karlie, as we wrap up here, what are people that are watching this, the audience that are watching, members that are watching this, members of the crew, are going to want to reach out to you? What social media platforms are you on, and what's the best way to get a hold of you or subscribe to what you're doing and keeping up on your process as this evolves?
Yeah, so I am on LinkedIn, Karlie Smith. My profile picture is me doing pull-ups, Murph last year in a weighted vest. So that's me.
Okay.
I'm also on Instagram as Coach Karlie, all
Nice.
one word, CoachKarlie. You could hit me up on Facebook if you want. I'm there under my name. I mean, I'm
Okay.
not on Facebook much, but I am on there. But yeah, anybody that wants to connect with me, I pretty much accept all connection requests on LinkedIn unless you look like you're not a real human being, because those exist.
Right. Absolutely. And more and more, it's getting hard to sort those out.
Yeah,
Right.
there are a lot of those. But
Yep.
if you look like a real human being and, send me a message, send me a connection request, let's talk.
Okay.
I'm a very, very open person, and I love people, love getting to know people. So hit me up.
Right on. Well, Karlie, I've got to say it has been an absolute honor and pleasure, to be speaking with you tonight. I'm, like I said, I'm still going to be playing back this conversation. So thank you, like from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for opening up and telling us your story. And once again, I know that wasn't an easy thing to do, but I am truly honored, and I know the audience is too, to have been able to have you on the show and hear your story. And I cannot wait to see what the future brings for you.
Thank you.
No problem. Well, audience, that's going to wrap things up. Please make sure you leave comments for us on what you thought about the content here, what you thought about Karlie's story and the delivery and all of it, right? That's how we grow. That's how we get better, right? And by the way, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and share this story. Share this story with others that may need to hear it. So, well, I'm Trevor Martin, and we're going to catch you all next time. Have a good one.